It's a very point I was going to make. A little perspective.
Yes.
Yes, of course, there's a devastating central portion of the island that's been very badly affected by these wildfires, and some hotels that have been badly damaged, villages that have been badly affected as well. But actually, about 85% of the island is completely untouched. Yeah, they see a bit of smoke. It might be unpleasant at times if the wind shifts in direction. But all of the main tourist resorts, where the vast majority of the tourists are largely unaffected by this. So this is why you're still seeing carriers like EasyJet taking people into the country, because they can still enjoy a quality holiday in an area that's completely unaffected.
But is there not a fear, Mark, that the fire will move to an area unaffected?
Potentially, of course. And that's what we saw with the evacuations over the weekend, is that there was areas that weren't really affected, then the wind shifted, and then within a matter of hours they were under threat, and then an evacuation happened. But it's a big island. Those main resorts are far enough away that, yes, if there was a shift and the flames started feeding up towards those areas, there would be plenty time to get people out and to evacuate. I think, you know, in the island's tourism authority, understandably, they're keen to get the visitors back in, but they're saying, look, it's safe.
Yeah.
For the vast majority of the island area around there, it's safe, and that's why people are still coming in.
And that's why the Foreign Office hasn't published.
They're taking a calculated risk at the end of the day.
I mean, the Foreign Office has had a bit of a clobbering over the past 2 days because tour operations are attacking the Foreign Office, saying, you know, that they'd all gone home for the weekend and didn't bother putting out warnings.
Well, I think that's completely unfair, because these fires only really broke out last Wednesday. It really then only became a major issue in terms of the intensity of the fires by about Thursday, Friday. Well, the Home Office teams flew out then on the Saturday and were there on the ground on the Sunday. Yeah. So I think the response was perfectly in time with a developing situation. And all they're ever there to do anyway is actually to act as liaison between those holidaymakers who are having to cut their holidays short, who are finding it difficult to get on some of the flights back, and trying to facilitate their travel back. But to be fair to the tour companies and the airlines as well, after a sluggish start, again, they're all gearing up, dealing with what is an unfolding situation. They're putting on more planes. There are plenty of aircraft now that are flying in there, some of them with very few passengers, some of them empty, to take those passengers who've had to cut their holiday short to come back.
If people do decide to cancel and they're too worried about it, I mean, in the legal situations, they can get their money back, can't they?
Well, it depends on the airline and it depends on the circumstances.
Okay.
You know, if there's an area that is largely unaffected, I mean, some of the airlines, yes, are offering refunds or a change of date or location or whatever. The best advice is check with your tour operator or airline. It would be, you know, I can't really give us an overarching assessment because they all differ.
But Mark, just personally, if you were due to fly off to Rhodes on Friday or Saturday, would you still be going?
I'd go, as long as the resort was, you know, a fair bit away from where the bulk of the firefighting activities are, which seems to be in the central part of that island. It's the same with Corfu. We had some fires there. Now, apparently those fires were started by arsonists. And there have been a number of arrests in relation to this. But then over the weekend, Saturday into Sunday, there was some very real concern about the flames. And that was really more to do with the smoke that was going over resorts. So as a precaution, you had an evacuation of some of the resorts. But within half a day, they were filtering back into those resorts again. So it's, you know, it's probably a bit different in Corfu. The resorts were a bit nearer the flames, but there's a big part, and the majority actually of the island of Rhodes, the main tourist areas, that are unaffected. So it's easy to sort of get on and, you know, all of the catastrophisation about how this island has been absolutely decimated. Well, part of it has, but
and thank God nobody's
majority of it hasn't.
Thank God